this year was definitely difficult, and I'm sure it was for you as well. But I think that there's a lot to learn from this year, and I think it's important to reflect on 2021 and use that energy to push us towards this new year. There's no real way of me knowing what you've been through this year, and for some of you it might have been loss, it might have been, like I said, the loss of a loved one, or depression, or being alone. I think a big thing with the mental health stigma in general, a lot of people feel alone with the things that they're going through. And what I ask of you now is to reflect on this past year, reflect on what you've gone through, and use that energy to feel what you need to feel. Because in order to heal, we have to feel. And I know that that's so difficult because we try to suppress our emotions and we don't want to feel these negative feelings that really dampen our mood. But the thing is, when we suppress our emotions and hide and run away from them, it doesn't make them any further or any less of a problem than they are, because those are always going to stay with us, whether we decide to push them down or not. But the thing is, when we feel, we can heal. When we feel our emotions and when we feel everything that we've gone through, we allow ourselves to release what's happened. And that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, and it doesn't mean that it'll happen just the once and then you'll be done healing with that issue. It just means that you don't have to hold it in as much, and it doesn't ruin your day. Because when we hold in our emotions and we don't put action to our emotions, like, emotion is like the natural flow of feeling, and when we don't put flow or action to our emotions, they build up, and when they build up, it can affect our mood, and as we all know, our mood can be it can really take a hold of the whole day, and in that way it could even play out through an entire week, months, a year. That's why it's important to grieve who we've lost and to feel things that we don't want to feel, because it affects us. And when it affects us, it also affects our relationships with people. And that's important, because we want to be the best that we can for other people, because we love other people, and we need to be. There's this analogy I saw on TikTok, actually, where giving to another and being of service to another person, whether that be in a relationship or just like regular service throughout the day, there's these two glasses of water, right? One of them is the other person, and say they need your support, or they need something from you, and you have more water because you have more energy to give, and they have less. And it's not like they're better or worse, but rather they are feeling down and they need something. Instead of pouring from your glass, fill yours up and let it pour over into theirs. That's what's so important about being fulfilled in who you are, and making sure that you have yourself right in order to help others. And how this all relates to 2021 and going into this new year of 2022, we want to be our best selves. And whether we were our best self according to our own belief of what our best self is from 2021, whether we actually fulfilled that or not, it's tough. Because we are so judgmental, and very strict on ourselves and hypersensitive, or hypercritical of the things that we set out to do and the things that we didn't accomplish, or feeling like a burden on other people just for being not okay, or just for being who we are. The thing about being our best self, sometimes it's not up to us. And I know that sounds wrong. Like, how are we not in control of what our best self looks like? But because we're so hypercritical and judgmental of ourselves, we think that we can achieve so much more. And it's not that we can't achieve that, it's that being our best doesn't always look like how we think it does. And that's not to say we shouldn't reach for the stars and we shouldn't set out goals. It's that we should be gentle with ourselves and realize that things take a process, and it's not going to be easy either. So when we reflect on the goals that we set out in 2021, even if we even remember our New Year's resolution, because I know that term, I don't think it even really means much, because it's just a sudden motivation to try to be better. And it's not wrong. It's that we need to set, I posted this on Instagram, we need to set intentions for who we want to be rather than goals and expectations. Because when we set goals and expectations, we're expecting that. We are setting out something that we want and almost need to do. But when we don't achieve this or in a certain amount of time, or don't achieve it at all, our self-esteem is lowered, and that's not fair to us, because we are already enough whether we set out these goals and actually achieve them or not. Because we're human. We're not robots. We can't always be at our best. And each year brings new experiences and new difficulties with them. And it's important to be gentle with yourself throughout the process. And what I meant by setting intentions, like I set intentions based on who I want to be and how I want to act, rather than the goals that I want to set out to do. Because when I am being somebody, I can do something. And that's what's important. It's not about what you do, it's about who you are when you do it. I think that's a quote, actually. I can't remember who it was. I think one of my professors said it in a class. I'm about to get flamed. I don't know who it is. But back to feeling what we need to feel. And when we look back at the things that we set out to do and the things that we had hoped for with 2021, it's okay to feel that guilt for not getting through what you wanted to get through and not seeing everything that you wanted to see in 2021. You can feel that guilt now. You are safe here. Feel the shame that comes up. Feel anything that comes up, whether that be grief of a loved one. You're allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to feel your emotions. Feel what you've been trying to suppress. And just take a minute with me and just breathe. And just allow it to come up. We're always on go, 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 and we're just suppressing our emotions. Just let it come up. Feel what you need to feel. How you feel matters. You don't need to suppress it. And you're not a burden for expressing your emotions. You are human. And I think a lot of us throughout this past year, we felt alone. Whether that be because we're missing somebody because of loss, or relationships that have been broken, or just put on standby because of COVID, and it's hard to interact with people, and there's so much going on. But the one thing that we can rely on is ourselves. We will always be there for ourselves, whether that be perfectly or not, because we can't always be the best supporter of ourselves. But we survived 2021. Mentally, we had a tough year, but we're here. We made it. And through those dark times, we pushed through, even when we didn't think that we could. That's something to be proud of. Feel proud of yourself. You're allowed to. I think we get so hard on ourselves. Oh, I didn't do that. I don't have this yet. I can't be happy now. There's always something to be found in the present moment. You are to be found in the present moment. And when you find yourself within all of the anxieties and the amount that's going on in the world, you come back home. This is the only body, the only person that you're going to have for the rest of your life. Cherish it. You're allowed to be proud for surviving a year that was tough on you. You don't have to be more tough on yourself. It was difficult enough. And like I said, our best won't always look like our best, especially when we are facing trauma, when we're depressed, when we're trying to grieve a loved one, when we're alone, and when we doubt ourselves, and when we feel isolated from the entire world. Our best won't always look how we want it to. But we did our best. There's no going back and changing anything, but there is learning for the present. And what you can do into 2022 is to be gentle with yourself and realize that you are human and you are imperfect. And I preach this so much because it's true, but we overlook it. Because we are worthy of love from ourselves and others. And just because we're not doing our best, or we're not where we want to be, it doesn't mean that we're any less of a person. And it doesn't mean that we're a burden on others. And it doesn't mean that we can't still show up in relationships and we can't show up for ourselves. We deserve love from ourselves. So give it. So this is sort of the part one to my 2021 type of videos in terms of like reflecting on them. And this next video, I wanted to more talk about what I'm going through, and in that way give like some more like tips on healing and just like going through our human experience, because my experience is subjective and it doesn't mean that I'm correct in anything that I've gone through in helping you or allowing you to feel anything that you need to feel. But I am, I guess, an expert in myself. That sounded very egotistical, but like we know ourselves and that's it. So take everything that I say with a grain of salt, because you know yourself better than I do. But basically, guys, this next video, the part two to this, I'm basically going to be talking about my own experience and showing you guys that I am imperfect as well. And it's not just, I'm not just preaching. I go through things as well. So I wish you all the best in 2022, and I love you. Take care.